Outlet Liquor is your place to buy a case. Stock up and save when you shop the lowest prices available every day at Outlet Liquor. You never have to wait for a sale. The more you buy, the more you save. Only at Outlet Liquor.
What's your outlet?
Welcome back, ladies and gents, to episode 82 of Two Goalies, One Mic. I'm Johnny Cullen, joined alongside by Duane as always. We have a very special guest today, a very good friend of mine, somebody that I've known practically my whole life. Grew up with him. We were both part of the 91 age group that featured a ton of talent, a ton of guys gone off to Division I and pro hockey and major junior. Currently, he is coaching the Buffalo Regals 18U and 16U AAA, coming off of a national championship, AAA 18U championship. Couple clicks for that. We are pleased to be joined by, family at this point. Kyle Quick. Kyle, thanks for being on, brother.
Yeah, no, I appreciate both of you guys having me on. Honestly, it's great to talk about obviously local hockey and, as well as pro hockey, all that stuff is really fun and entertaining, Well,
me and you have been talking for a little bit about getting this on. I know you and Duane have kind of, been putting, getting everything set for tonight. So thanks for taking time out. Duane, you'll have plenty of time to get your chirps in on me because there's a couple stories that'll come up that you'll end up dying at. But Kyle, well, I have you. Right now, like for the past, let's just say we'll give them a quick background. You and I played together, scored major year. Okay.
Yep.
We'll start off with that.
Yeah.
Okay? So we're on the Regals together. Duane, the first good team I played on. There's is he a current NHLer or is he in the KHL?
He's NHL, AHL, KHL. I'm not sure where he is right now, but again, I know he was up and down.
Clendenning?
Yeah, Adam Clendenning. Yeah, I skated with his old man.
Oh no! Oh,
this is
I
amazing.
skated with his old man quite a bit.
Frank used to tell us he would break his ears off.
Juniors and killed people.
I see. There was this General Motors skate that they did half the year at Northtowns and the other half at Riverworks. And last time I skated with them was a little bit ago, and it was my first time being on the ice with them in a while, and they had some new goalie there, and I'd never seen this guy before, younger kid, and Frank's Frank, man, whatever. And he was skate like this goalie, dude. And Frank's old as shit now, and he's fucking taking his paddle of his stick and swinging it at Frank and hitting him and trying to fight him. And I'm like, yo, dude, he's 75. You're like, so I left my net and met this guy at center ice and told him to fuck off. And this guy was, dude, this guy would have killed me too. He would have fucking absolutely annihilated me. I was dying, so
yeah, he sticks slap shots at Cully's ribs from the hash marks.
Picking up the pucks, like turned around, and he's at center ice with the biggest fucking smile on his face. He's got 5 pucks up there, going full clapper at a 9-year-old Tendy, Duane. And I think this was after we had chased the other goalie away. So
yes, this is definitely true. Yeah.
Duane, safe to say for the story that me and Frank don't get along, even though he was one of the coaches, and me and Adam really butted heads. So I'm gonna give it over to Kyle. So
I would say the best
animosity in the team.
The best stories were Frank as a coach back then. Like me and Adam played D, and again back then both of us were very good puck movers. We would do all that together. But Adam was always in 92.
You were PK. Well, you guys stayed out for the entire PKs.
But the best was Frank always taught us after whistles to throw guys on Johnny, probably because he didn't like Johnny, which is unbelievable. We used to literally after whistles. I think it was more entertaining just to throw guys on Johnny, our own goalie, just to see his reaction. Frank be cheering from the bench.
Oh, Frank loved it. It got to a point, Duane, where my dad stepped in as not only a parent but the team
psychiatrist.
And it starts out with I'll let Kyle tell it.
Yeah. So Mr. Cullen was the team psychiatrist for a Squirt Major team. So we sit in a hotel room in Brantford. We're in Brantford at the 99er tournament. And really good tournament, you know.
Walter there.
Yeah, we're all sitting there, and the initial thing we're watching is the Sandlot. So we're all sitting there.
Great scene. Wasn't it the chirp scene?
Yes, you know, and he's talking about, you know, so we go through Mr. Cullen, you know, giving us the talk, you know, guys, you know, this is what a team does. They all help each other out. So he goes, John, what do you like about Adam?
No, hey, so he said first, wait. He said we're going to go around the room and we're all going to say something we like about somebody. But my fucking dad teased me up for instruction by choosing me first. Kyle, go ahead.
He goes, what do you like about Adam? John, flat out. He's got nice skates. Everyone in the room's like, what is going on? What is going on right now? And Mr. Cullen just like looks at his son.
Oh, he wanted to kill me. Oh,
just
he
wanted to rip his head off at that point. And then Adam, you know, I mean, just went off. But that team, I mean, going off that team, like a lot of talent, you know, I mean, we talked
about it, back. 5 Division I players.
Yep.
I
think you were the only goalie at that point because we chased our other goalie off the team by one of the kids blockering him in the head in the locker room.
No, it wasn't me or Kyle.
It wasn't us. It wasn't us. We witnessed it, but
I won Major Junior. You, Alfieri, Conti, Clendenning, so Anthony Day. That's 5.
Zarbo.
What?
Zarbo.
David Shieldsy was on Rochester.
Shields, right? No, you missed Joe Zarbo though. He was there.
Zarbo, so that's 6, Duane, from a sport major team. Anyways, it was a shit show. But I told again with Kyle. His dad was our coach. Last story I'll tell about this, so we can move on to some of the cooler stuff. Duane, Kyle and his dad, you know, his brother Kevin Jr. went to Salisbury too, right?
Yep.
So Kyle is well known in the prep circles now. He knows all the coaches. But back then, you know, I'm pretty sure you knew you were going to Salisbury.
Middle of the year, yeah.
Yeah. So, but Mr. Quick, our coach, shout out to Mr. Kevin. I wouldn't be where I am today without him. Love that guy. But so he takes us on. It was the Berkshire. They just opened up their new rink. Beautiful rink, Duane. And we got like a private tour. We did Avon, the Gunnery, Salisbury, and then maybe we did
Choate. I think we did Choate too, because Kenny.
We definitely did Gunnery. But anyways, we're back at the Berkshire tournament, right? So our team, like this was not that Squirt Major year. This was 6 years later.
No, it was Bantam Major. It was 14 years.
And Ryan White and Denny Playfair were the only players on that team. And, you know, Kugler was on that team, I think. I don't know. Anyways, Quickie, tell me if I'm wrong here. I get pulled, Duane. I let in. And, like, they weren't bad goals. We were just
we were playing the Boston Terriers, who at that time, like, Steve Whitney was on the team, Ryan Coffey was on. These kids were like, they were really good players. And like that day, my dad, like the whole purpose of the tournament was to go tour schools, get like the prep school feel, all that stuff. So we did like 2 or 3 tours that day. So we were all exhausted and we're going to play this game. Well, we're down like 7-0 after 1. And like, I think John lets in a quick one, like whatever, in the next period, let's say. My dad's like, we got to get him out. So our other goalie at the time, great kid, but I mean, like, just he's fine. He's, you know, nice kid. Puts him in. John comes storming off the ice. Yelling at my dad as loud as he can in the rink. Everyone in the rink can hear it. Like, literally, you fucking ruined my chances. You are a piece of shit. Like, dude, we're all sitting there like, what's going on here? Like everyone and anyone in that rink heard it. Like, it was the funniest thing. A 14-year-old coach.
And Johnny's yelling this at your dad?
Yes, but the best part is the coach of Berkshire
was there to watch it.
Really bad. And Kyle's dad was secretly pumping me up to this guy, right?
Yeah.
He is working the penalty box. He is 6 feet away from this whole tirade. And all Kyle's dad did was just looked at the guy. And the guy has this horrified look on his face because, I was the guy that Kyle's dad had. Oh, man. And I looked
yeah. Again, I mean, it's just one of those stories. It's so funny. Like on that trip, I was telling Duane about like your dad driving us on those back roads. And I think it was Tom Leone was in the front seat and a deer jumped out in front of your dad, slams on the brakes and Tom's head just hits the dashboard. Me and you in the back are just dying. Like, what is going on right now?
Tom Leone mixing a fucking seatbelt one time.
The funniest
me
thing.
and Kyle, we had this big blue conversion van, right? We had these nice bucket seats in the second row. So we had me and Kyle were fucking around.
Yeah.
Leone, I don't know why he didn't have a seatbelt on. Him and my dad were talking. They were in a deep conversation. But like Kyle said, deer comes, Leone goes fucking
head first.
Head off. He should have been dead. He should have at least been like seriously injured. He's fucking bounced back. He's fine.
Yeah, completely fine. Completely fine.
No
issues.
That's what I'll tell. We in that big blue conversion van. It was me, you, Anthony Day,
Brett Rogers.
There was one more, maybe Adrian Copeland, but
maybe
Copeland was up front because he was younger than us.
Yeah.
We get pulled over. My dad was a safe driver too. We get pulled over by an OPP officer, and he gives my dad a ticket because Brett Rogers, Kyle, and I were jumping
around in the back
into a bed, and Tom was pissed. Keep in mind, he was so quiet the whole year, like nice guy. Like I had seen him get mad at me, like at home and stuff, but like none of those guys did. They all liked my dad, right? You never seen him get like over like 2 decibels. My dad fucking turned around and just gave it to the boys. And I pointed the finger right at Brett. And, enough about that. I'll open it up. Kyle, you after our last show, we were talking about Peters. You have done such a good job, and me and Duane talk about it all the time. There needs to be more people like you at moving kids on, right? Like you've recognized that high school hockey here outside of Nichols, it's not going to
We were literally just talking about this before you came on. Before we started recording, we were literally just talking about all of this, man. Like
I'm going to name players, Duane, and Kyle, you tell us a little bit about them. And what you like about their game and where you got connected and we'll go down the list. First up is Lucas Mercury. Did I get that right?
Yeah. So
wait a this kid's gonna listen to this podcast, at some point, hearing his tires get pumped, and he's gonna hear Cully just fucking butchering his name.
Butcher his name.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Lucas.
Yeah, but so Lucas, again, he played at Salisbury for 2 years.
And for those people that don't know, Salisbury is one of the top prep schools in the world. Number of NHL alumni. They had plenty of NHL draft picks right out of the school. They're always in the mix for the Division I Founders. Keep going.
Yeah, they do a good job there. Coach Will took it over. Actually, the year I left, he took over, and he's done a really good job there. But Lucas came down from Lac St. Louis, big program in Quebec. And again, he came down at 16U. He played for Yale Junior Bulldogs that year. And again, he was committed to UVM at the time.
So Vermont commit.
Yep, committed to UVM, and again, I mean, was supposed to go to UVM as a true freshman, and that's when Snedden just left there. That year was going to go in, and Woodcroft came in. He didn't know. So the following year, 18U, he played for me. I had the connection of the Salisbury kids. So now. A couple years later, we have 25 in the program now. But Lucas and Ritz going in, they were staples.
Is
and
this draft year that you get him?
Huh?
Is his?
Yeah, I got him his draft year, and it's funny. Alan Walsh is his agent.
No way.
And he called me.
You got to talk to Alan?
Yeah.
Lane?
So Alan called me, and this is a true story. He called me, and again, honestly, guys, I had no idea who he was. Thought it was another agent. There's a lot of agents out there.
Speaking of
He
which,
was the one that put out
that's after with DeBoer. So DeBoer's kid was on Salisbury with Mercury at the time. So
and that's when Pete was coaching the Knights.
Yeah.
Oh my God! All right, keep going. Sorry.
So Alan calls me, and again, really nice guy. I honestly I didn't know, he just asked me about
Lucas.
Lucas.
For his guys, man. There's one thing I've heard, and Agent Provocateur. I encourage everybody to listen to it. He's got his own podcast out now. First agent to really open the doors and give us a behind the scenes look, and he's just. He's known as somebody that's going to do whatever it takes for his guys. Kyle,
he speaks his mind and he does well by his guys, So again, I didn't know at that time like who he was. So, calls me to talk about like this is after Labor Day tournament with Lucas and talking who's talking to you after games. And that year we had Lucas and Alex Jeffries on the team. We had a number of kids who are very talented, but a lot of these guys are coming up.
We're on Central Scoutings.
Yes, we had 3 guys, 3 or 4 on Central Scouting for the first, fall release, whatever.
What about the middle one?
What's that?
Did it jump for the middle one?
Yeah, they moved up. And the final they really jumped, and again, but again, so he's talking and honestly, when you have those conversations with guys like that, it's just speaking honestly. I think a lot of guys like a scout comes up to you and you're like, oh, well, like they really like him just being honest. But I had a really good conversation with Alan. And again, regardless of Alan, like my relationship with Lucas, expanded. I still talk to him today. I mean, he's a great kid. He's at UMass now, Amherst. Played in the year in the USHL. That year he was drafted by Carolina, the year playing for me. And again, I mean,
like for you, buddy.
Yeah. Well, what was that? Sorry.
What was that feeling like to hear his name?
I mean, honestly, it was really, I would say it was surreal because, you talk to these kids so much and it becomes
you're with them every day, right?
Yeah. It's more like I don't know how to describe it, but it's like a fulfilling moment to you. But it's like it's a feather in your cap. People say whatever. But again, I mean, it's more about them. Like they're both like very talented kids. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say I developed them. It's not, what split season hockey is.
I can cut you off real quick. The best thing about Kyle is he still talks to all of his guys.
Yeah.
Like these guys, it's not like 1 year and like you never see that coach again. I think one thing that has helped you do so well in bringing these guys in to your wherever you're coaching is that A, they trust you, but B, you guys are forming these lifelong relationships.
Yeah,
right?
100%. 100%. And again, I honestly, I coach for that reason, like, get to know these kids. Obviously I have a son now and like he looks up to them and, if any of these guys play, like it's just a cool relationship to have. And like, they're really good kids. I mean, I still see, obviously they're getting older, but, I see a kid like Lucas, go through the process, the ups and downs, scouts coming up to him, some people saying things that, aren't true. And, like saying things like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that versus, focus on, your skating at the time. Like was his big knock, focus on that. And again, like, I mean, just the whole year between him, and it was just talking through it. Obviously I saw my brother go through it, and obviously I was on the draft list, never got drafted, whatever. But seeing the process play out for a kid like that was pretty surreal. And again, he was a great kid and just, respect him a lot. And he's gonna play because of just how dedicated he is,
All right. Duane, I'll let you tee up the next one.
You're gonna let me talk?
Yeah. I had one more guy. I'll let you do the next one. Alex Jeffries, Merrimack, New York Islanders pick.
Yeah. Again, so when you were talking with Andrew a couple weeks ago, I didn't know, like, again, I was watching on my Twitter and I thought it was live. That's why I texted you that night. Cause again, Alex, played at Gunnery again. He actually, so the year before I coached him, he played at Yale again, the 18U team. And actually, I believe he led nationals in points that year as a 17-year-old. So like, I honestly like getting him over as an 18-year-old to my 18U team. It was kind of like, this kid's the real deal. You know, you have him, you have Mercury, you're combining those two. Like that team was just super skilled. Not just those two, but we had 3 lines of Division I players. I mean, I think we started with 4 and ended with 11. But you know, Alex like comes in, you know, he's a gunnery. He played at gunnery. And I mean, talk about a kid that should just, I mean, you come over the blue line and just have that snap of a shot. You're like, what? Like a kid playing prep school, you know what I mean?
You know when guys have an NHL.
Yeah.
His
release.
Like as a goaltender, you know a kid's special. Everybody needs to be able to skate now, right?
100%.
Whereas when we were really young, it was still like I go back to like the 04 or I think it's the 05 or 06 lockout. Before it was, you know, the clutch and grabbing, you know, you look for your defenseman to be big. Now everybody needs to be able to skate, right? Mm-hmm. And that's number one. But as far as releases go, for me, when I work with my older goalies, like it's players like a Quentin Musty. He's got such a deceptive release where he's able to catch a pass and pull it and push it, right? So he's able to change the shot angle 3 or 4 times in under a second and be so deceptive with where his blade lies on the ice where you know right away that guy's got an NHL release, right?
Yeah, even exactly. 100%. And again, I mean, so you see that, you know, again, coming over from another program, like a midget program, like, you know, again, like the comments in the fall on him were like, you know, him and Merckx, you know, like a lot of questions I got were, how are they in the locker room? You know, and again, like, I'm like,
you get that one a lot. That's off.
You know, I mean, you get those character questions, you know, and, you know, I will say this, you know, and I tell this to guys, like those 2 kids were like me when I was young. All I wanted to do was win. I don't care what I said. You know what I mean? Like,
well, why did we get along, Kyle? As much as we butted heads, what's the one thing that always brought us back together?
Yeah.
We're the 2 most competitive son of a bitches out there, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, we would get into our quarrels, right? Because you were Dino's goalie, but we both were so competitive. I think that's why we always kind of got along and stayed in touch all these years, right? And 100%. Now that we're older, coaching together, doing stuff, right? And I've always respected that about you. And as a player, that was one thing I'll say. Kyle is, to this day, the only defenseman I've seen be able to, off of a draw, skating in defensive zone into his boards, be able to turn and ice the puck like hit like a jumbotron at an NHL rink.
Yeah,
like Ryan Ellis used to do it, but like you had about 8 feet on him. I've never seen it. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I used to,
on the penalty kill, like that's huge, right?
Oh,
like, I always, like Bugner and DJ Smith always said, we're gonna prevent them from getting in the zone. And that's the best penalty kills I ever played for or on. You limit their zone time, they don't score.
Yeah.
So you saved me plenty of goals by doing that.
My first game at Brown against Colgate, like on the kill, backing up, have the puck, killing the time, send it from my own end, hit the netting at the other end.
Oh yeah. Oh wait, so
Mike, get to delay a game.
Oh,
Coach was furious.
When I play roller hockey, like I refuse to play goalie in roller hockey. I just won't do it. It's just too much in your knees and too much in your hips. I still play ice, even though at a mediocre level. And that's one of the things I'm pretty good at. Not to that extent, dude. Is like I could sauce a puck from behind my own net and hit the other goalie square in the chest with ease. Like not hit the netting, but like I don't understand why maybe more teams don't do that out of desperation. Not even just on the penalty kill. Again, what do you do when the puck's up in the air? Everyone's up looking at it, but if your teamate knows, don't look up, just keep going forward.
Well, the Piles should be out of the building. So
I honestly I mean, one of my pet peeves. And
you did that in your first ECAC game?
Yes.
Oh,
that was tough.
Did you guys kill it?
I got scratched the next night.
Yeah. Hey, we'll see. Hey, can't hide from the tape, buddy.
It was
up the middle.
It was tough.
Like the creativity, but see you, Bob.
Yeah.
No, you had a good college career. Going back to who is it that I just asked you about?
Jeffries, yeah. So Alex, again, I mean, so the process was a little different for him. Like, honestly, that year Lucas and him, could have played in the USHL that year. They went back to prep school. They want to finish off what they started at their schools. Both won championships that year at prep school, with Salisbury winning the Elite Eight, and that's right before COVID hit. So that was the last it's crazy. That was the last championship.
They were the one league to finish.
Yes, they were. So that was literally the last championship that happened before COVID.
So where did Jeffries play prep school?
He was at Gunnery. So they won the small school title that year. Or large, was it small or large school? I forget. Yeah, small school. And so there's small school, large school, and Elite Eight for prep now. So Alex won that year. But again, a kid came in. He was told he was going to be a first, second rounder. And again, he had that ability, rankings wise, he was there, and again, I think, going through the process with him, a little different than Lucas. I mean, different types of questions, again, I would have to tell him, watching his Gunnery games. And to this day, I told him, like, he would go off as a forward and then literally come off, go to the D door and go back out as a D, like that year, which again, I think, honestly, I'm telling you guys, like, I think it hurt him that year. And I would tell him, like, because he's too tired then. Like, you're literally just too tired. Like, you don't look the same.
Hey, the versatility is nice, but in moderation.
Yes.
Right?
So he was playing, a 47-minute game, whatever, 48-minute game. He was playing 40 minutes at least.
Yeah.
And he was capable of doing it.
I've only seen one person be able to eat 40-plus minutes and be okay the next day, and it's Ryan Ellis. Yeah. And, like, we at that level, we had – hot tub, cold tub, steam room, rollers, massage guy. You know what I mean? Like,
different.
Right. So it was Jeffrey's draft year as well.
Yep.
So him and Lucas. Oh wow, same year.
Yeah, both forwards. Again, running PP1 was.
Is this the team that won it all?
No, Nationals got cut off that year.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
So. They were,
but here in Jeffrey, so they both get to win that's cool. Both of these guys win their respective prep, and those mean a lot, right? Because as a Salisbury alumni, it's a connected world, and you go back and you have that banner on the wall forever, right? You were part of that group, 100%. And that's incredible. So, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'll let Duane do the next guy, but take us through, where the New York Islanders fit in here and what that draft like was for him and for you going through it, leading up into it and what it was like to hear another one of your guys called.
Yeah. And again, so Alex, the process, again, a bunch of teams, you hear all the spin, top 3 rounds, top 2 rounds, the whole thing. And he ended up going to the Islanders, I believe 3rd or 4th round, I forget, honestly. But, you're talking going in as a true freshman at Merrimack last year. And, Lou Lamorello, you guys were talking about a couple of years ago, and like how he develops guys. And you look at his rosters from New Jersey, the Islanders, and Lou favors American college players like heavily. If you go look at his rosters, and, for Alex, huh?
Is that because of the extra development?
I don't know. I think it's mature, like maturity, probably. You know what I mean? Like it's probably older. All that stuff.
It's like 3 or 4 extra years, right?
Would you say structure in college is much more strict than it is in junior hockey?
Yeah, juniors. Even in the USHL, I would wake up. Pretty late. And then just go to the rink practice and then go golf with Sam. That was
dream, baby. Yeah. And the OHL, we would do breakfast club workouts, but we were.
That's because you were in Fat Club.
Well, hey, you don't
stop pucks breakfast club for you.
You don't stop pucks in the gym. But I feel like at college they have more time. They play less games and they have more time to work out.
100%.
And you can't take the schooling out of it. It's student athlete. Student goes first for a reason, right? Like I was a good student. I was a great athlete. I was a terrible student athlete. So I think that the maturity, Duane, but like Kyle went to a couple OHL, or he at least went to one OHL camp, 48 hours. And I think
I lived with
the OHL is no doubt you would have dominated. I thought you would have been great in that league, but you did well at Brown too. But for me, it was the OHL was the closest thing to the NHL. We played 3 games in 3 nights every weekend. We had the ice as much as we wanted, and all I had to think about was stopping the puck. No school. Like Kyle went to an Ivy League school, and on top of all that, you're playing fucking crazy good hockey, right? Like that's crazy.
Yeah, again, the structure, like with the colleges, I mean, again, you know, seeing guys from our team sign, like Garnet Hathaway was on our team. He's with Washington. I mean,
I like his game.
Just like, you know, how hard, you know, like those guys are, and like, you know, I had 3 surgeries in 4 years. Like the battles in college are just, I think, tougher, to be honest with you, just because the physical, especially ECAC. I mean, it's just all, you know, it's old school. It's big guys playing Cornell. Yeah, exactly. Quinnipiac. I like playing Quinnipiac. They're one of the softer teams to me. Just
I know, but
they're number 1 in the country. Number 1 right now.
Sick arena and
unbelievable arena.
Duane, I know Duane's been itching to get this next guy. Super excited to pronounce his last name.
Oh boy.
Yeah, well, I think I got it. You know, after looking at it a few times. Out of you know, center out of Northeastern, obviously, we see what Devin Levi is doing there. You know, Buffalo Sabres prospect, kind of at a historic pace, keeping up with where Ryan Miller was when he won the Hobie Baker, almost like stat for stat outside of games played and wins.
His numbers are alien-like, Duane.
Yeah. Me and Kyle were talking about him before you hopped on, before we hit the record button. But, you know, and again, I'm trying not to butcher his centerman, Justin Richkowian.
Ritzkowian, yeah, it's like Ritz Cracker. Yeah, that's really good, because I used to just.
The H is silent. The H is silent.
Yeah, the H is silent. So you're real close there. Yeah.
But he was center for Northeastern, was the captain of the Sioux City Musketeers in the USHL year before, and before that, Cedar Rapids Rough Riders. I'm looking at his numbers here. He's always been pretty consistent. You know, not always a point per game player, but pretty damn close every single year. 20 years old now.
Duane, I think this kid, Kyle, correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the one that came from the same town? Is Levi?
Yeah, so they're from up in, they're both from Quebec. They grew up, you know, and again, like Mercury, Ritzkowian, and Levi are all very connected. You know, again, like Mercury was telling me, like, before, you know, Levi grew up, because Levi was committed to Vermont before with Mercs. Yes.
Coming out of the CC or out of midget in Quebec?
Out of the CC.
Okay.
But then, you know, when Sneddon left, you know, Merckx jumped and Levi jumped too.
What's it called?
NLI. They had NLIs, but again, I don't think Levi signed one. Mercury, that's why Mercury did a year in the USHL. He had the NLI, but there's ways that whatever. I don't know.
If you're smart enough, you can get around it.
Yeah.
And how you only have the verbal, because that's real easy, right?
Yeah, Mercury signed it though, so yeah.
So Vermont loses its head coach. Levi decommits. Keep going.
Yeah. So again, Ritz going back to Ritzkowian, you know, they all grew up together. You know, they all know each other. But, you know, Ritzy, another kid, you know, came down from Lac St. Louis, went to Salisbury, played 18U for me. And again, I had no idea. It's like, and I still tell the story to him. I think it's funny because the younger brother plays for him now, and he's got like Connor McDavid speed, to be honest with the younger one.
Great boots on him?
Huh?
Great boots on the younger brother?
Really good. Really good.
Boots.
Really
we love
good.
the boots on this show, right, Duane?
And
we do.
And he, so this one, the older one, more complete. Again, Levine is coach, you know, and Keefe actually, the head coach there, working at Brown. So I know the staff well. You know, they compare Justin. I mean, he's their Patrice Bergeron. I mean,
Oh, that's the guy you were telling me about.
One of the
most complete guys you've coached.
Yeah, I mean, all around. I mean, the highlights. I mean, again, I remember, you know, he came to town to play in playdowns. Again, whatever. You know, we were playing the Monarchs, and some of the guys had to go back to school for exams, and Justin stayed. You know, we're playing the Monarchs. It's a tough game. He comes down on a guy, lefty shot, comes down, puts the front fake, backhand through the feet, backhand upstairs, and I'm just sitting there like,
That's
like,
goalie hate crime, Duane.
Yeah, I'm like, and the best is the kid. He's an awesome kid, loves hockey. After games, he'd go back, watch live bar, and see his highlights. Just that type of kid.
I love that in a player.
Sitting with his Normatex on, looking at highlights and playing Xbox on the TV. And again, just a kid who's he's excelling in college hockey. The Northeastern, like you got Levi excelling, then Ritzy's a freshman there. He's their first line center. I mean, he's on their power play as a freshman, which again, in Hockey East, that's pretty, unless you're like, ridiculous. I mean, it's pretty hard to do, but he's just a complete player. And, another kid, Salisbury kid, he kind of set the table for getting more Salisbury kids because, he set the culture of my program of the Salisbury kids, which, helps a lot.
Before Duane gets you on the last guy, one thing you've done really well is you've given a ton of local kids opportunities to get to prep school, to get scholarships at the prep school level. And you run a showcase every year that has Division I coaches, prep school coaches, Team USA officials and coaches. We'll get to that at the end. But what is one way that you like? How did you get connected with these guys outside of the Salisbury ones? The guys that
I think so.
Very good at networking with them.
Yeah, so when I was at Brown my sophomore year, I had surgery 3 out of 4 years there. I started coaching with the River Rats.
Yeah.
With McDougal. Yes.
Me and you played a couple times.
For McDougal. For chowder cups and all that stuff. Yeah. So, Scott was really tied in, and then my senior year, I actually got hit from behind in practice and actually stopped playing halfway through the year and started actually coaching.
The scary one, right?
Yeah. Numbness in the hand, neck issues. Yeah. So, I got really into the coaching aspect at that point and the connections, and Mike Levine, who's at Northeastern. I mean, there's a tight group of people up there, and all the coaches.
Actually,
yes, and all these coaches, they all talk, So if you do right by
going from, he was my brother's coach. He's at Colgate or
Cornell now. Yeah,
awesome guy.
Yeah,
shout out Benny Sire.
Again, the whole, all the college coaches, all the good ones, they all stay connected. And if you do right by them and tell the truth about players, I mean, your connections just build and build and build. And, again, I know McDougal and Levine, they helped me build it. My first year back, our camp was just McDougal, Levine, and Jerry Keefe, who, was at Northeastern and now is the head coach there. That was the initial camp. Now it's expanded to 30 over 35, reps from coaches from NA to USHL to D1, D3 prep.
Well, how many kids came last year, Kyle?
There was 300. Yeah, there was 300 kids last year. And
not only that, it's the best of the best. You probably sold out quicker than anything.
Yeah.
And I'll give you credit because there's so many vultures out there in the hockey world right now that run these camps that are awful. This is one that is as advertised. We will give you more information. Duane, we're going to retweet the info off the page. It's something that I'll be a part of next year. I was there 100%. This year helping with the goalies.
Yep.
But, Duane, the one thing, you remember how many camps we used to go to, and for goalies there was nothing?
Yeah, I mean,
Kyle brought in the guy that picks the goalies for the USA. What's his name?
David Lassonde. He's the USA Olympic.
USA goaltending. Right? He's part of the reason that to be a normal coach, they have to learn about goaltending now. He's one of the I didn't meet him at camps, but he was always at select festivals, helping pick the NDTP, but the league as well. Kyle's able to get these guys in Western New York and to be face to face with these kids for a week. It's incredible.
Now I remember when I went to my very first goalie our goalie USA Hockey goalie coaching clinic, which was never that was never a thing. That was kind of a newer program out of USA Hockey. How do the proper way of coaching goaltenders, not just on the ice but mentally. And it was headed up by Phil Sayer. I'm not sure if he's still with USA Hockey, But he was there. Bob Janos was there.
Well, again, and that's where, again, all these guys, you meet guys like Kevin Ryder, he's big in USA Hockey. Jared Wyman, who's with Tampa, Florida, like that group, he's big in USA Hockey. David Lassonde, all these guys, again, respect to them. It's unbelievable having, a network with these guys because they do such a good job. But at the end of the day,
Kyle, like you don't build those relationships by lying about players or by doing things the wrong way. And that's one thing I got to give you a lot of credit for. And I try to tell kids the world's speeding up, right? And everybody has cell phones now in their hands. It takes a lifetime to build a reputation in the game of hockey, and about 5 seconds to ruin it. And one thing that you've done extremely well is build all these relationships, help all these people out, win a national championship, not a big deal, and, continue to help guys. So before we go any further, really quick, last year you coaching, was it Rocco?
Yeah.
So Rocco, same kind of idea, a mixture of local kids and
2011 team just won a national champion or the Buffalo Cup. Yeah.
So, Kyle, was it a mix of local kids and then kids that would go away to prep school and just come back for weekend games?
Yeah. So, again, I mean, usually the model is, there's
you were the first, if not one of the first, to use this model. And you're definitely the first to win a national championship using it.
Well, no, I would say the Wolfpack. So the Wolfpack, Connecticut Wolfpack, actually had 3 Buffalo kids.
What do you know? Cully's wrong again. Duane.
Ben Shadle, Jake Smith, some Choate kids, and some Loomis kids. They did it, when it was actually cool because Nationals were in Buffalo when they won it. But that was the first prep, besides like Mid Fairfield back in the day, stuff like that.
What team did they win it with?
What team?
Yeah.
The Connecticut Wolfpack.
Okay.
This is like 96 birth year. So, a little bit, between you were probably playing still, so again, it's in that middle time for us.
Right.
So, again, the model itself is, I'm trying to, send kids out of town, get them to prep schools, and again, like some prep schools are, they're already affiliated with, like, let's say the River Rats or Yale, so but that's not going to stop me from sending a kid to that prep school if it's the right fit, like, because that's what's right for that kid.
Everybody has to get a path, right?
Yeah, exactly. Everyone has paths, and again, like,
there's not one right way to do it either.
There's 100 ways to make it. There's 100 ways to make it now, but my model essentially is, right now I'm paired up with Gunnery, Millbrook, Salisbury, Avon, and a couple kids off training piling. You have a couple outsiders. There's a Deerfield kid, but essentially the model
for people that don't know, like, how does a practice for you? Do you guys practice?
So in the summer at that showcase, we practice a couple days after, and then we're going to practice before states. So again, like, that's why it is crazy. I mean, last year when we won nationals because of COVID, the kids take
us through it quickly.
Yeah. Well, last year we had the billet. Like, I billeted 3 kids at my house for 3 months, which it was an interesting. Noah loved it. By the end, Nicole loved it too.
I was going to
because they just become part of the house. It's like junior hockey. They're here. They're taking care of themselves.
I know the exact feeling. I billeted 3 players when I was coaching in the USPHL at my house, and it was as much fun as it was. When you miss that alone time of being able to I know the feeling. So anyway, you have a very talented roster. Who did you beat in New York to get to nationals?
So we beat Nichols in a shootout.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And that would have been Nichols' first trip?
Probably, yeah. Benedict, yeah. Yeah, he's done a good job. I was telling Duane about that. He's done a really good job there. Yeah.
That's another guy, 91 birth year, played with me and Kyle a lot in the summer. I don't think he was on that.
He was on Rochester with us. Yep.
Yeah. That would do those jerseys.
Cool. They were really cool.
Dude, really cool. So going back, you're in the national championship. Where was it? Colorado?
St. Louis.
St. Louis. Take us through who you played, what the feelings were like. I was following along on Twitter. I just remember seeing the clips because it was a close last game, right?
Yeah. So our first game out there, we played Columbus, which we had played earlier in the year. So a little weird year. Last year we played like 40 games with the 18s. We played them. We knew what they were, hardworking, very hardworking, and we had more talent. But if we matched their work ethic, we would have been fine. Again, after that game, their coach came up to me. He goes, "You guys are going to win this." And when people say, again, it's first game, you're sitting there like,
what fucks with you?
Yeah, like, I don't know, man.
I didn't want to hear that, sir.
I really don't want to hear that, But
luck.
again, like, I would tell you, like, I mean, the kids, I think the whole time, we did all the team meals together, at the hotel. We did team video. We did, everything was together. It was like I ran it like a college program from doing stuff at Brown. So video, I knew exactly what other teams were doing, because it's funny, like you get to that level, and I don't know how many people are really doing the video, like, and understanding the breakout, like what exactly they're doing, the forecheck, and what exactly they're doing. So I think it benefited us doing the video, to be honest with you. I mean, my dad started a food fight in one of the videos. Yeah,
Quick, God bless him.
Yeah, Johnny, they call him the general now. I mean, it's like
a new nickname.
Yeah, he's the general.
Me and Duane, it's ironic, Kyle, because me and Duane, when we go back to the Sabres and in the misery and in the lack of organization, we go back to the culture all the time, right?
Yeah, I mean, culture is like, I think that's just the one thing that's been missing from that team, honestly, probably since the departure of your Millers and back the first time Pominville left, and that whole regime, that whole era kind of ended in Sabres hockey, and you never really restored the positive culture. And when under the Pagolas, you've had 6 head coaches and 4 GMs now in barely a decade. Like, how can you instill a positive culture when you have turnover in those 2 positions that often?
Can't.
Well, and it goes back, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but Duane, it reminded me of what we were talking about last, I think, with Andrew Peters, but Kyle, Kyle, tell me if I'm wrong. You don't need to be a great player to be a good coach, but it sure does help. Like,
it helps to know. Like, I think you like the guys who understand the game.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to be a first liner to understand the game.
No,
you look at Barnaby. I mean, he's a really good coach because he understands XOs. He's very good IQ, cerebral. Like, he understands the thought process behind things.
We've had that on a couple times.
Yeah, and again, like, credit to him. I mean, when he coaches, man, he's dialed in. But again, like the Nationals. I mean, the whole tournament.
I'm not letting you get out without telling us how surreal that was.
I mean, it was unbelievable, but like states, like our state tournament, like, and the kids, all these kids know, when you come to New York State tournament, like our team shows up here, we're considered like the rainbow helmet team, we're the team to beat, and again, this year it's a little different, I would say. There's some really good teams in the state, there's 4 teams that could win it. But, in prior years, I mean, it's, targets on our back. So it's really hard. You're playing trap hockey. You really have to go 200 feet to score.
Yeah.
And Nichols, I mean, last year in the finals for the States, Nichols, I think we had 60 shots. They had 25.
What? Musilak?
No, Zacher.
What?
Zacher, Lawton Zacher. He's really good.
Oh, I know Zach. I'm talking about.
I like Musilak too, but Zacher stood on his head, and he always did against us last year.
Zacher's the goalie. Who's the brother then? There's another Zacher.
So Addison and Walter. There's 2.
I know Walter. He's playing in the goal, right?
Yes, he can shoot.
Yeah. Oh, talk about a fucking pro
Good release.
Oh, if his boots if they get better, he has a chance.
100%. Yeah. Similar to Lugris. Very similar.
I love Dill. Congrats. Hey, Lugris just
Penn State.
At Penn State, right?
Yeah.
From the
Hitman. He's played. He scored a goal. I mean, he's playing, doing well.
His first game. Shout out to Dylan Lugris.
He's with the old Niagara goalie, Giuliano Pag. I'm gonna screw up his name. Pags, I call him.
Dude,
Pags is the coach there now.
That took Niagara on that unbeaten streak. Remember ESPN?
Yes. Yep.
Duane, this was like when we were in high school.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember.
It was after Gardner. After Greg,
Yes. Giuliano Pellegrino.
Yeah. So, but again, going back to the Nationals.
Let the guy talk, Cully.
Going back to Nationals. I mean, you had good culture, you had good leaders. I mean, honestly, it was a really good group. But we were down for 4 minutes the whole tournament, which, you get through that first game of Columbus. All right. Yeah. You're like, okay, good. You get to the second game and we play the Colorado or Rocky Mountain Rough Riders, Colorado Rough Rider, whatever they are, and their coach,
Colorado Eagles team.
I don't know, but their coach played in the NHL. His name is like Doug's. I'm gonna mess this up, and I don't want to do that.
Remember, there only used to be one AAA team, and it was the Colorado Eagles out of there.
Yeah, but it's there's like two now. But so this guy, after the game, another old guy, NHL player, like comes up, goes, "I didn't know we were playing a college team today." All right. Well, he goes, "You guys again. This is after game two. After game two, you guys are gonna win it." I'm like, all right, great, here we go. So, by that time it's funny. Rich Harris joined coaching the team that weekend. Yeah, you're going to love this. So I got Rich and my dad in the hotel, and me and Rich start this thing where, you go, you eat dinner with my dad, you do team film. Then me and Rich are like, okay, well, the first night we did it was crosses. We go to the casino. And like Rich is like, oh, let's just play roulette. And I'm like, okay, So first night I win, I'm like, oh, this is, whatever.
Great specials, the roulette.
Okay. So then we, you win that third, whatever regular game, and again, the other coach, Nick, he's doing it. Nick Skurlik, he's doing a good job with Maine now. I think we went 3-1 or 4-2, something like that. So we're crossing, we're playing Culver Academy. So Culver Academy, their coach is. Their coach's kid played at Salisbury.
What? So do you know him?
So and he used to coach at Vermont. So this is the whole Mercury, like it all ties together.
Wow.
So I'm like,
that is.
So like, again, like, he has Spitzroff, who was drafted by San Jose. He was a 7th round pick on his team. And, I'm watching, and I'm like, okay, guys, here's the plan. I mean, it's the quarterfinal in Nationals. I mean, after I think, we're up like 4-0 in the first 5 minutes.
That's such a good feeling.
And like McDougal, it's funny, like McDougal's, Scott's watching the game at home, after the second, he goes, I'm turning this off. Like, just make sure you get out of it without, having any issues. Like, don't be an idiot here. So like, but Kevin Patrick, he's like after the game, he's like, I knew what I just ran into. Like, my kid played with these guys the whole year. Like, I knew what I was getting into here. But like, again, you get to that feeling, goes, you guys are going to do it. I'm like, we still have Mount St. Charles. Huh?
Where is, for those that don't know, we've referenced him a couple times, Scott McDougal. He coached us back with the Neponset Valley River Rats.
Yep.
He's a good friend of the Quick family. He played himself. Was a great player.
At UConn. Yeah.
He played at UConn. Where's he? Is he back at UConn or is he?
He's coaching at Sacred Heart. He's associate head coach there.
So here's how good of a guy he is. I was coaching St. Francis at the time. Remember this? We're out there for a tournament. He gets us to one of his games, and they play in an AHL rink. Takes us for a full tour. John Butchergross was there for some reason.
Yeah.
Him and Scott were like in the Scott's coaching office. Like, I got a picture with Butch. Anyways, Scott McDougal, awesome guy. Me and Kyle got to play for him back in the day. I love that in between periods he's firing off texts to you. So all right, so you win the quarter. Who do you got in the semi?
Yeah, we got Mount St. Charles.
Oh, dude, they're a wagon. Duane.
Yeah.
Mount St. Charles wagon.
Yeah. So and Matt Plant and Devin Rass, they were at South Kent. They won a couple national championships there, then moved over to Mount, do a really good job, really good academy. They got who's the goalie up there behind the program. They got I'm losing the name. It's not Boucher. Maybe Boucher. Maybe. I don't know. I don't want to, whatever. But again, like looking back at their team, they had 3 NHL picks last year off that team.
Damn.
So, again, we're up 3-0 on them with like 8 minutes left. And then it's just, they score 1. They score 1. Okay. I'm like, we're all right. We're all right. Let's just, get out of here. They score 2.
Oh,
I'm
no.
like, there's like 3-4 minutes left. I'm like,
Longest 3
here
minutes
we
of your
go.
life?
You know, and again, like I remember the last play they had, and again, they brought it to us the last whatever. And man, they had a 1T set up for an open net, and somehow the kid missed. And I'm like,
hey, inches.
Yeah. Like it was crazy. I mean, like, you know, so
I
we
need a goalie, Kyle.
Huh? Yeah. Well, the goalie, again, our goalie played really well that day. Like, you know, so again, you know, goalie talk. Okay. And I have the current, so my goalie situation last year is I had an 02 and an 04. And the 04 could have been playing 16. He was underage. He made Holenka a really good goalie.
That's when I saw you at Holiday. That's the kid you were telling me about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So again, I mean, so you know, the 02 plays a semi, and they're both. I mean, you go look at their stats; they're both at like a 9.45, 9.46 in the tournament.
It was a coin flip.
So now you go to national championship.
What do you think?
And again, you know, for me being a young coach, you know, it's the hardest thing for goalies as a coach to say, hey, you're not going today, even though you know, you can go in the team. Like we weren't going to lose that game based on goaltending. It had nothing to do with it. But like, you know, when the team has confidence in an older guy,
yep,
you're leaning on that older guy, you know? And again, I will tell you,
I've been on the other side of it. I've been that guy to say, hey, Cole, we're going with Besco tonight.
I mean, teams are always going to play different depending on who the goalie is in front of. Like, you know,
100%. But I firmly believe either goalie in that we would have won, to be honest with you. But again, you go with the older guy, you know, I'm trying, and here it goes back to me. Like that older guy was looking to get an NA spot for this year right now. And again, it was a big game. The younger guy, you know, he has a couple more years, you know, he's going to get something. I know he's going to get something, but, you know, I feel bad doing this. Like, it's the worst feeling for me. And parents, like, you know, they get on. And again, it's the worst feeling.
Hardest part about being a head coach, I feel.
It's horrible. But I will tell you, you know, at the same time, like I see Ryan Hardy, you know, he's talking to we played North Jersey in the final, and they were connected to the Chicago Steel. And I'm like, hey, you know what? My 04 goalie, huh?
That was the year Chicago Steel won, and they were on a tear, right?
Yeah, yep. So, you know, I'm just like, you know, Ryan, like my 04 goalie, I'm not playing today, but he's a stud. Like, just don't be like, oh, like, because, you know, all these people, well, why didn't he play in the national championship? That's the question. It's like, that's not the question you should be asking. The asking is what was right for that team at the time, you know? Right. And again, I'll turn it around on a college or anyone.
Look at his full body of work.
100%. And it had nothing, didn't even lose a game. I think the kid lost one game all year. So again, it had nothing to do with that. It's just, you know, older, you know, maturity, stuff like that. The team, you know, a couple of kids.
You went with your gut, and that's an important part of being a successful coach. And it's stressful. And when you add in the hockey facet of it, because once you get to junior and college, the parents are out of the equation.
Yeah, right? It doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want at that point. No one's coming at you.
But minor hockey, not the same thing.
Not the same. But you get to the national title, you know, game, and again, I mean, we get down 1-0, and you know, I'm just like, you know,
was that the first time you guys were trailing that tournament?
We were trailing against someone else. Oh, Maine Nordiques, that Nick Skurlik guy. We were losing to him on that third round robin game, and I just ramped it up quick. Yeah. But so we're down, and I'm just like, you know, I tell the next line, our first line, go out, run quick hitter. They score off of it. I'm like, okay, we're good. You know, we're good.
That's the D1T.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it works, you know. And again, if you do it right, you know, there's space there.
Hey, Ryan Ellis got 100 points as a defenseman doing that. Mm-hmm. Half of his goals came off of that.
So again, I mean, like we get it, like we send a stretch pass to Mangan. Do you know Jared?
Yeah, Jared shoots for me in the summer. Love the kid.
Rips one bar down. So then we're up. Not yet. He's still in committee. He's in the USHL. He's from Madison.
A couple clicks, shout out to Mangan. Really good kid.
Yeah, very good kid.
Oh, I forgot he was on that team.
Yep. So, you know, he rips one bar down, puts us, you know, we're up now. So, again, we get to 3-1, you know. And so the Avs, like, they're a really good program, you know, all that. They're connected to the Chicago Steel. They're 16.
For them last year.
They won nationals with Musty, yeah. So they're on the other side of the building, you know, so they win nationals at 16. So they go over and they're behind my goalie now, their whole team, the 16 team.
Oh, I hate that.
It's the worst. You know, I'm looking down at my goalie. It's 3-1, and I'm just like, oh, we're fine, you know. They come down the wall, shoot one from the corner and bounces it off him. You know, again, I'm looking down at McNicholas at that point. I'm thinking, did I make the right choice? You know, because that starts going through your mind like shit, you know, and I could see Salmon in that. And he's like a little flustered, and you can see this stuff starting to happen. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, this ain't good, you know? So at that point I looked at Austin and I go, hey, just be ready. You know, I don't know what's going to happen. And there's like 6 minutes left in this game. I'm telling the other goalie, be ready. You know, I mean, yeah, you don't know.
It's 3-2 now?
Yes, 3-2.
Oh, God.
So, again, I mean, but, you know, then there's some other plays. You're like, I mean, he's looking shaky. This ain't good. You know, goalies, you know, that confidence goes. You're in trouble.
Head cases.
So, you know, and again, they got the 16U team pounding on the glass behind them. It's not the best situation going on. So, you know, again, I mean, there was a picture. I'll send it to one of you guys once I find it. But, like, the last 30 seconds, I mean, it's a shooting lane for their D. And I mean, when I tell you, like, these players committed to winning, like, John, there is no lane for this puck to go through. There's 4 layers.
I love that.
It's like, I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Midnight for when, you know, instead of doing the flamingo,
yeah,
as Smith used to call it, if you're going to stand in front of my shot lane, you better fucking block that shot. Again,
then, like, these guys, you got 4 layers. I mean, there was no puck going through, and, you know, we won. And again, you know, John, it's cool because I got to do it with my dad.
Yeah.
You know, it was the coolest feeling. I mean, like, you know,
that came out afterwards. I was so proud for you, for him, for the boys.
Yeah.
Duane, thank you for letting me take Kyle down memory lane. I've never won a national championship.
Yeah.
You think when you're young that you're going to win so many of these championships. And Kyle, me and you, we won a lot in the summer.
A lot of tournaments, yeah.
We won a lot of tournaments, but like I never won a national. I never got to a national tournament. I made it to New York State Championship a couple times too. But like, this is the national title. It takes a lot. There's only a few people in the hockey world that can say they won it at the top level at 18 AAA. Thank you for taking us through, Duane. I know you had a couple things.
Yeah.
You got to wrap it up. So Kyle, unreal taking us through that, and that just a couple clicks for the guy. Brought home national championship, something that nobody can ever take away from you. 100%. And you get to do it with your dad, the fucking general, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh God, I can't wait till I see him next and call him the general.
It was it was that was fun. I mean, just seeing his face. I mean, you know, again, he's coached for so long. You know, he always talks about his bowling national championship. You know, I don't want to hear about it anymore. But again, I mean, like, you know, obviously he coached us, and again, he coached all those teams where we were never the premier team, let's say. You know, he always had like me, you, like our core, but we didn't have, like, you know what I mean? We didn't. We had opportunities to be like on the Amherst or play for Syracuse and all that stuff, but he never had that, like, you know, exceptional team. But, you know, getting in and doing it with him, it was fun. I mean, it was enjoyable. And again, it's something that you'll always remember. I mean, I'll remember the most is him and Rich arguing in the hotel over the air conditioning. I mean, it was the most ridiculous stuff in the hotel rooms, but you know.
Oh my God. Well, isn't it funny though, Duane, and we talk about this all the time. It's not the games and you miss. It's the being with the boys, and as a coach, it's the arguments. Duane, I know you got to run. I've hijacked most of this. I'm sorry.
Most of it.
What did you want to ask Kyle?
Yeah.
No. Just touching on, we talked about Rick's Cohen. We didn't touch much on his younger brother. He's a northeastern commit too as well.
Yeah. So Dylan, it's funny. He, he comes in this year playing the Regals, and his brother told him, like, you're with Quickie, like, just you're fine. You're gonna get taken care of.
Yeah.
And again, like, comes in the first weekend, we do Labor Day, we do River Rats, Jamboree. They're back to back. One event's Monday, Tuesday. Then we go Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Like, it's just like it's 10 games in like 6 days for these kids. So
they're two of the best kickoff tournaments.
Yeah, everyone's there. I mean, so like Ritzy, we had 2 kids commit to Northeastern that weekend, whatever you want to call it.
Imagine that, Duane.
Yeah. Right. So Ritzy, again, comes in, way different than his brother. I mean, like his creativity, his feet, I mean, if you put him on a PK against a D, I mean, you better hope that D can have a motor or they're in some trouble. Like, I mean, but he just, he's, what's that?
Good 10-2 on him.
Yeah, just you just
better hope that D can control his bat.
Like he just I mean, like when he came to Buffalo, I mean, when we were playing Nichols, I mean, I think he had like 4 breakaways in the game. I mean, he's just
That's crazy.
He can fly.
Benedict and John Cristiano they've built a good structure. It's hard to get behind them, and you found a way to do that. And it also helps to have that. I want to call them grumpy hips. That ability to go from sideways. Remember the kid from London Knights that did it 2 years ago? There was that video where he literally was 10-2.
Literally all the way around,
Yeah. I can't believe I forget his name. Sorry, go ahead.
No, but another guy we wanted to touch on too was it Kyle Chris?
Luke Chris.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I butchered his name.
Luke. Luke. Yeah. So Luke, his older brother's a 98. He played for the national program. His dad played in the AHL. What?
Was his older brother a World Junior guy?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And, Chad was drafted second round by the Hawks.
Chad Chris, okay.
Yeah, he's in Toronto now in their system. He just got traded from Chicago over there. His dad played at BU, captain BU, played in the AHL, was the captain of the Amherst, all that stuff. But Luke, Salisbury kid, played on Westchester when I was coaching 16 Regals, and he jumped on board with us, and his dad, helped out coach, really good guy. I talked to him all the time.
The 18U team?
Yeah. Yep. And his dad jumped on board to help coach, but again, was just kind of, Kyle, I don't want to, because again, it becomes different.
Coach, but dude, to have a guy with that acumen, they get it, right?
Yeah.
And they don't want to be overbearing, but to have that, to have those guys in your pocket, not your pocket, but in like, that's so cool for the kids, dude.
Yeah. Again. And, I mean, just really good guy, but the kid himself, I mean, again, I can relate to this because of my brother, Chad drafted in the NHL second round, really good feet, national program. Luke's 2 years younger. Me, Kevin's drafted in the NHL, 3 years younger, completely different skaters. That's what everyone,
You two were different players.
Yeah, completely different. And Luke and Chad are different players, but Luke, they compared him to his brother. And it tough on him, throughout the process. But he's at Brown now. He's an assistant captain as a junior. I mean, plays 35 plus minutes a night. Has an invite to Vegas's rookie camp. I mean, the kid he's doing really well. But again, talk about a kid coming from Salisbury. When every Salisbury kid used to play at Yale, and he played with us. Set the culture like Ritz going. They were on the same team, and now all the Salisbury kids after that have come to us because the kids like that just setting the culture and being like, this is where you want to be because this guy's going to help you, Yeah.
And that's just an acumen to you. I know Duane's got to go. One last thing. Well, two quick last ones. Do you know that? I know you know the Tucks. Which one was it that you coached?
I didn't coach either directly. To be honest, I know them.
I know you guys know the.
But we know them through. So the Kerwins, remember the Kerwins?
Yes.
They're the same ages. Yes, Ryan and Luke. So Luke was the 97 and Ryan, and then Ryan's the 99, and what's the younger one, the 02? Ryan's the 02. There's Matt's the 99. So there's 3 Kerwins, 2 Tucks, but they were all on the same teams together, so you knew the development, the pass.
On those Syracuse Nats team coming up.
And Terry, the dad, would coach the Tucks, all that group, but again, I mean, talk about like a guy coming to Buffalo, in that deal and, getting off on the right foot, setting the right culture, changing the outlook of the team, changing the outlook of the room. I mean, that's what, again, I don't care what level it is. That's what's going to set everything going forward.
Yeah.
So
that's the most important part.
Having Alex in that locker room for sure. I mean, if you were to tell me, not even like looking at the Jack Eichel trade, that a player that was traded from a team that was a cup contender was being traded from that team to a team that finished dead last the previous season. Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at that and I'm like, well, that guy's fucking pissed off. But
yeah, 100%.
It was all smiles for Alex. He said I dreamed of putting on that jersey when I was a kid, and then for the next week, all you saw was pictures of Alex Tuck wearing a Sabres jersey on ponds, on local rinks, at Sabres games.
It's really good for the culture and that team moving forward.
Yeah, you can put the C on that guy's jersey next year without even hesitating. 100%. I know people talk about Dylan Cousins, maybe even Casey Mills, that guys that have been around.
Not old enough, not mature enough to have that.
Alex should have that C, and there's nobody's going to wear it better than him.
Yeah, well, I think it helps that he came back early enough this year to play a half a season. So it puts you in a place where you can do it next year, right? You don't want to do it too early.
Yes,
right? What? No, I know. The last thing I had is Kyle. So you with the Northeastern connections, you have we talked about one of your guys that is close with Devin Levi.
Yes.
So Duane, I know you've kept track of him. Kyle's going to help us try to get him on.
Yep. We talked about it.
Really appreciate that. One last thing, Duane, are you able to pull up the graphic?
Yeah, I can right now.
So Kyle's it's the Western New York College Prep Showcase. This year it'll be the 25th to the 28th. Yeah. Anybody that wants to reach out, Kyle, what's the best way to do it?
Yeah, I'll just do it via email or text. My email is kylequick9@yahoo.com. The Game Breakers website, Twitter, all over that as well. Everyone's on Instagram.
Young players, if you look at the people, like these aren't lies. These are all of these commits have been guys that have come through. Kyle, I'm so lucky to be a part of it now. And Duane, you can take it down. Fucking block my ugly face. Kyle, you've done a tremendous job with that. Just wanted to reach out. Anybody's interested in that, elite players, get on it because I know that thing sells out. And we were joking about
$500 isn't a bad price either, honestly, for that much ice time.
And dude, he doesn't do it to make money because you got to remember he pays for all these college coaches. He pays their way in. He pays their hotel, and it's so cool. Last year was my first year helping out. To be in that coach's room with David Lassonde and the coach from I forget where, the D1 coach.
You were with Levine. You were with Levine quite a bit. And again,
it was just awesome.
My biggest thing is with that stuff, guys, is you go to dinners at night and Cully, I want to obviously include you more on this stuff too. And I know last year run into your camps and stuff like that, but you go to dinners and you guys, you talk about a podcast like this and these guys is telling stories and stuff. It's where you grow relationships, but also, again, it's just shoot the shit and it's enjoyable. And I really enjoy that week for that stuff too.
Oh yeah. And Kyle, go ahead, Duane.
No, before we let you go though, Kyle, one thing we talked about a few of your guys, but is there anybody locally, honestly, just kind of born and bred here in the 716 locally that maybe, you want to pump their tires a little bit, just,
again, I think, on our 05 and, through the years, there's a couple kids, there's a goalie, going to Colgate next year, Nick Haas, he's on Chicago Steel. Really
good lateral movement.
Yeah.
Big, quick, good down low, local guy. You had him, right?
Yeah, had him. He was at Salisbury, now Chicago. Obviously, our current guys on the 04s, guys like Ryan Novo, who's been a really good 04, just bulldog on the ice.
Older brother?
Matt.
Yeah, I remember Matt. He's a good player too.
Yeah, and again, Ryan, he's at gunner right now. Just all over the ice. He's probably 5'7", but talk about a guy who won't back down from anyone. I've seen him you guys laugh, he got in a fight at Chowder Cup, then on the way off the ice grabbed another guy. He's just out of his, yes. I get these videos and it's oh boy. But again, over the last couple of years, it's just, I think last year we sent 28 guys to prep school, so to go through and, name every one, you can't do it. But, like a kid like Novo, you see who's a Buffalo type kid, like hard nosed, like blue collar, just works his ass off. Those are the kids you want to see have success. And my biggest thing, honestly, guys, it's not about, where you play, Regals, Sabres, Nickels, any of that stuff. Like, if you want help, I'm one that I'll help because that's the right thing to do for kids. And that's
where did we learn that?
My dad. Yeah.
I mean, like, I hate to steal, like, it's props to you and everything you've done, and Richie and Bennett and everybody that's helped along the way. But I told Duane this multiple times. Had it not been for me playing for Kyle's dad and learning those lessons, and he was hard on me and he was hard on you too, but we needed that. And ironically, me and you were the two to really take off from that. I know there were other guys, but we were the only two to really get to the pinnacle. Injuries, obviously, early in our career, earlier than we had hoped, forced us into coaching. But we could do this for 4 hours. Duane, I know you got to go. Thanks for staying on extra. Any last things you want to add, Duane?
No, just tomorrow we have obviously getting away with the local hockey. You have the Sabres coming off a big, I wouldn't say big 3-1 when it was the Ottawa Senators. But 3-1 victory over Ottawa. The legend of Michael Hauser lives on. Big performance.
Fuck Hauser.
Why?
He was my roommate at Sabres camp. Because
he beat Johnny out of the net every time when they played 3-on-3, one goal.
Fucking Hauser played for London when I played for Windsor. And I tried to fight him a few times. Thank God I didn't. Because when we went to do testing for the Sabres, I was coming off an injury. So technically I got like the free pass. And I'm like, oh, I could take this guy. He takes his shirt off first day. He's fucking Ivan Drago up top. And he's got a leg disease. So props to Hauser for making it all the way to the show with his I don't know what it's called, but he doesn't have like muscle right in his calf area. He's had to get special gear, but fuck you, Duane, for bringing that up. Damn it, I was in a good mood.
Well, I mean, whatever. I mean, whatever. But anyways,
huh? Why did you bring him up?
Well, Buffalo's got another tilt tomorrow night.
We got Dallas on Thursday.
Dallas Stars, yep.
And then Philly, and then Ottawa. So, so when are the games? Go ahead.
I'm just saying, previewing that, let's kind of bring out a little bit of the Sabres fans and all three of us, previewing that, just our thoughts on, the schedule going forward and the direction of the team. What do you just...
Yeah, I think honestly, I think the Sabres, they're moving in the right direction. I think a lot of moves have been done methodically. I think Carmano's coming in here is a huge addition for this team in terms of the background stuff going on. I know one of the kids who played with me a couple years ago, his dad's really close with Carmano's, told me when they hired him from Pittsburgh, like that's the guy that you need. And I think every decision now is methodical. I think there's a lot of good going on where you see the, development in the minors where it's not a rush. It's not, okay, let's just get this guy games. It's, they're obviously COVID, you have to get some guys game, all that. But a lot of things moving forward are going in the right direction. I think there's a lot of good things going on, a lot of excitement. I mean, the last couple of years, Duane, we talked about before. I wouldn't watch games. I'll sit down and watch a game now because, I enjoy, the pace, what they're doing, the actual hockey, where a couple of years ago I couldn't watch a game.
It was unbearable.
Yeah, I think I think they're doing the schedule, once they get their team back, what they have, their team right now, and again, the goalie situation, it's crazy what's going on and Hauser, all that stuff.
6 goalies so far this season.
It's crazy, but I will tell you, like, if you have, a goalie, like, who's, an NHL #1 right now, the team may be in a playoff push. You never know.
I could see them being in the 10 spot, looking at on the outside, looking in for sure. Again, 100%. But that's the thing within this COVID, environment we've been in now for 2 years, it's like you never know what's going to come the following day. You could be on a 3-game heater, and then all of a sudden 4 of your guys are on COVID protocol, and you get what you got against Tampa Bay, where you have an AHL lineup playing against the Stanley Cup champions.
100%.
For me, and tell me if you guys disagree, I've been so excited, and I like the way that Karmanos and Kevin Adams have kind of done this the right way, giving Jack Quinn a taste as a measuring stick.
He looked good, too.
Not giving him up too long. Now, does he deserve to stay up? Maybe, but they're making decisions now on what's best for the individual's development. And they haven't done that in the past, and we've seen
100%.
that, the way they handled Middlestat, but now he emerged, right? He's been out of our lineup forever. You look at the start that Craig Anderson had. I think if he stayed healthy, I think you guys talked about it, like those goalies, when they're on, those are multiple points that you get in replacement, right? Yeah. So I'm most excited about seeing guys JJ Paterka, Jack Quinn, Peyton Krebs, UPL step in and have success, Eric Portillo, Devon Levi, all these guys, all these pieces that we've acquired. I know that we've said this in the past to build, but it really feels this time around that we've hit on our first round picks, but we've also hit on a second. Like, when's the last time you could say as a Sabres fan that we've had an NHL player that's played meaningful minutes or as a second round pick? We haven't hit on a second rounder, I think, in forever.
A lot of years.
Paterka's a lot, right?
But,
like,
the excitement I would say to you guys for this type of stuff too, like we're talking youth hockey and all this stuff, is you look when, again, I've been doing the youth hockey in age groups, so I know the age groups well. 05, 06, that was probably the last couple of good years, right? Like, those were the good times.
06,
I would tie youth hockey development and like passion for hockey and like talent in Buffalo to the Sabres like play. Like the talent in Buffalo, I will tell you, from between those years right now it's thinner because less kids are watching hockey, less kids are actually playing hockey because the Sabres are not good. I mean, we could talk about this for days, but, I'm excited to see the Sabres get back up because my son obviously is an 18, which is crazy to say, but
he's not 18. Just so you know, he's a 2018 birth year.
Yes.
And I love that you're already saying that.
But, but again, I mean, you get excited that he'll be like, Dad, I want to watch a game.
Yeah.
Let me run this by you, Kyle. Duane, 2006-07. That was the year
I was a senior in high school when they lost to Carolina in Game 7.
And me and Kyle were
Freshman.
juniors. That was the year before I went to the OHL, and the year before Kyle was at Salisbury. So like all of us got to go through that, and it helped all of us in individual ways. But it also maybe pushed us into something that, had the team been dog shit, maybe we wouldn't.
Yeah.
I'll say this, Cully, I'll say this. You drive around Buffalo nowadays, and like back then, man, you couldn't drive a couple blocks without seeing a street hockey game somewhere. Now it's not.
You don't see any. You never see one.
Go outside and play, kids.
Listen. You know, I picked up the other day. There's this Facebook group. It's called Buy Nothing or something. Buy Nothing. It's pretty much people gift you stuff for free. You come pick up their house.
We got that for the kid.
Yeah, dude. I got a set of black plastic with the foam
Milac
pads in my basement.
I used to love those. I was the goalie in the street. I love those.
You would skin your knees so much on those things. I got the Franklin blocker.
Spray them with WD-40 so you'd slide.
Oh, yeah, dude. Those were amazing.
We weren't on the ice, and even if we were on the ice for a throwaway practice, I don't know why, Kyle always wanted to be goalie. Every game, he was always goalie.
I wanted to be a goalie. My dad wouldn't let me be a goalie.
Yeah, he was a smart decision.
Yeah.
Duane, wait. So you got a pair of Milacs?
Oh yeah, man. I saw these things, and I literally you comment and they draw your name out of a hat, and I said, listen, I will literally do anything for this equipment because that was my childhood. In the driveway with my brother, ripping clappers as like I used to tell him we cannot go inside the house until I make a windmill glove save.
Yeah, 100%.
What happened? Like 100%. You know what I mean? Like it's just like
Kyle will do the same with his brother, except we can't go inside until I ice a puck from my end and goes out to the other end.
Yeah.
I miss those days, man. But like piggyback what Kyle said, man, like it does make a difference, dude. Why like kids aren't playing hockey as much anymore because there's been nothing. I started playing hockey because of that hockey team. Like it's a fact, dude. Watching Dominic Hasek, watching
if we're talking goalie specific, John knows this from the goalies. There's not as many goalies now because again, think about Hasek. Then you had Miller. So then, like, think about the timeline of when those kids would want to play hockey.
Goalies start in that since between Miller and now. So, I last time I checked, which was probably right when we started this podcast, it was around like 27. We've started 6 this year alone. Like that's an insane number, an absolute insane number. But it's true though, man. Once you have a team that's exciting to watch, even if they're not winning, consistently, but if they're exciting to watch, and I think this speaks to it too. You need a team that's engaged with the community too.
100%.
Like I remember they used to do the street hockey fests, stuff like that outside the arena. Remember the Sabres Carnival? Do you guys remember that?
Oh yeah.
I have so many autographs.
But I remember that was like people talking about it and me being so jealous that I didn't get to go. Or couldn't. But I do remember the Street Hockey Fest and how big that was and just how cool that was. And we had a bunch of guys, like I think our team
we used to play in it.
Yeah. I remember at the Sabres Carnival, I think it was Derek Plant dunking him in a dunk tank. Like they were racing RC cars with players around the like they don't do that stuff anymore, man. Like
no.
If you really want to improve fan engagement, that's where you start, man. You get these I mean, granted in a COVID world it's tougher right now, but if we ever get out of this, like that's where you start, man. You like who cares about the stupid crap you do, on the Jumbotron during games. Yeah. That's where it's going to count with these younger fans.
Engage them.
President of Hockey Ops.
Huh?
I said Duane for president of Hockey Ops. I'm just fucking.
Yeah.
You
want nothing to do with me, Johnny.
No, but listen, if you create the right culture and you focus on what's important and you get that quality of hockey, the quality of play back up, and then start to re-engage with your fans the right way. I think that's what we haven't seen since we got to see it when we were 14, 15, and it affected us. I think just seeing like Hasek and even like I still remember when Brett Hall scored that game-winning goal. I
was sitting in
I went out punching the ground.
I went out by my neighborhood the very next day because I was the only one left in my house that stayed up watching when they scored that goal. And then I heard out like the next day, you heard that his foot was in the. It was either the next day or the following. I literally went around Cheektowaga, Borden Road and all the side streets, going door to door with a notebook and a pen, asking people to sign a petition to send to Gary Bettman. Swear to God, I wish I still had the notebook. Maybe my dad doesn't have it somewhere. But I literally got like 100 signatures, and I thought that was good.
I remember on that playoff run, I went early on when Stu Barnes was doing all that stuff. So I went and I got an old red alternate Max Finneganoff jersey. Which I loved. I loved
the
that.
Red alternates were dope.
Yeah. And, I left. I was young, so my mom, we had to leave early. But Johan Hedberg was the goalie.
Dude, the Moose.
Yes. And we were playing Pittsburgh. And, again, I was a huge Pittsburgh fan, too, because I grew up loving, like, Francis Yager.
Granny, yeah.
That line was just stupidly good. But, again, I remember going to that game and mom like walking. Again, this is crazy to think about now. She left me in the seats with like strangers and went and got me an alternate jersey. And brought it back. It's the best day ever. But can you imagine leaving like a 7-year-old kid in the stands by himself?
Wow.
Definitely how to do that today.
Yeah.
It was a different time. And that was the beauty of it. But, dude, so many good memories of just, and not only that, remember when the Frozen Four came when Vanek won with Michigan?
Yeah.
No,
Minnesota.
Yeah, like just to see. I remember I got to go to that, and that was so cool. And for me, it's like you guys said, it gives kids. Now I don't want to say a pathway, but it gives kids. Like I don't want to say a hero either, but like for me at least, it's well, if this skinny son of a bitch that does, Ryan Miller, if he can do it, I can do. You know what I mean? Like, it gave us role models, and it gave us, a reason to want to make it to the league and play for that team. So I hope it turns around.
Well, they play Dallas tomorrow night. They're 6th in the Central. Not a bad team, but also not a great team. So it's definitely a winnable game. I mean, the Stars aren't a team that's necessarily rebuilding, but they have a guy behind their bench. Braden Holtby. That's a guy I think I kind of wish Buffalo would kind of go take 100%. A look at, just because me and Kyle were talking before the show. I don't know if UPL is the answer. I really don't. Not because of talent, but the injuries, the constant lower body injuries. I mean, he's still so young.
Hip surgery at 20 years old.
And now we don't really know what his lower body injury is, but it's either going to be his hips or his knees.
Related, right? Like, what's one thing, Kyle, that you learned from your head and neck injury? It's all transference, right?
Well, so I had 2 hip surgeries.
Knee surgery that had my hips been stronger, that wouldn't happen, right? So, Duane, I think that it is a thing for concern. And I think next podcast, I'd love to, I can't – Quickie, if you could help us out with Devon Levi, if it's after the season, that would be awesome. Because, the last true NHL goalie we drafted fucked us because of the college free agent rule. Cal Peterson. That's that. UPL, but we've been seeing what he's been dealing with. Now we got Portillo and Levi. What, in the goalie world specifically, and Kyle, I know you know this because you've been around enough. Duane, I know you know this because of your position. The only way that you breed good goalies is by having competition internally. And that is contagious. It spreads to the team. It spreads to everybody in practice. When you don't have that, guy pushing you right on your ass. Yeah. So I'm excited for the future in that. I know those guys are a couple years away, but listen.
That's why I think you got to find. I think you got to find a veteran
bridge. Yeah, you need a bridge guy. Again, like you go back to when, here's the move that I didn't like. Between the years was when Fleury went from Pitt to Vegas. We needed a goalie. Yeah, we needed a goalie, and Fleury was a guy who could win you 50 regular season games, and he proved that every year in Vegas. Again, like that, you need something that's reliable, something that's been through it, something that's mature.
How much he would have helped Darlene's game?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my God, yeah.
Minus it. He's been perfect.
Look how when UPL came in and was playing out of his mind in front of a bad team, backstopping a bad team. You saw the difference in Darlene's game. You're gripping your stick a little bit less. You know what I mean? You're giving a little more freedom to play your game, especially offensively. Like Darlene wasn't drafted to be a defensive defense. He's an offensively talented, gifted, generational.
Well, speaking on defense again, like you look at when Tyler Myers was having success here. I talked to Reve about this quite a bit. Again, you got surround. Yeah, your goalie is huge. I totally agree on that. But Darlene needs Tempo Numanen.
I was big on Matthias Ekholm when he was available.
Kalender, those types of guys to calm things down for a kid. And you speak as he's a kid. He's still a 2000 birth year. I mean.
Crazy.
Like, that's insane. I mean, his first year in the NHL, let's talk about Luke Chris. Luke Chris is playing 18 new states. This kid's in the NHL.
That's wild.
Like we have to put things in perspective, but if you're not going to surround people with pieces, it becomes very hard. And again, that's what we're talking about. Culture, being methodical, they're moving in the right direction. And I think Peters and Reve were saying they had a couple names and, on their podcast, and they're mentioning really good names to backfill that decor. And again, I know goalies, we need goalies, but
they mentioned Mason.
Was one of the names. Manson. Yeah. Again, guys like that, you need heavy bodies to help out back there.
Yeah.
And they talk about and
towards skill, but I who I miss? I miss Delorier. And the reason I miss Delorier is because how many times have we seen in years past somebody take liberties with a saber and nothing was done about it?
Well, but if we're talking,
we can't have heavies anymore. But Delorier is a serviceable fourth liner that's no worse than Cody Eakin or whoever we have right now.
But to people, but like a good draft here's what I would say, like another bad decision. Like a good draft pick that's panned out to be that would help the Sabres on D right now is Zadorov.
Oh yeah, a guy who's physical.
Yeah,
who
like
can add a little
McNabb,
bit.
Zadorov, like those guys.
You know, a guy who can add a little bit offensively, but at the same time, he's going to play a heavy game in his own end.
Yeah, and that's what they need to help those guys. And again, as it helps the D, help the goalies, help the forward. It all translates. But, I think they're moving in the right direction. It's just, it takes time. And, it's exciting. The culture is changing. But I would just say, as a whole, it's taken a long time, frustration, and, hopefully they could get the fans back engaged.
That's the big thing is, I know the Goalies are big on money and wanting to, pinch a penny when they can. People say this about somebody in my family. I won't say their name, but they won't. My uncles who say, "Oh, he wouldn't pay a nickel to see Christ come off the cross." Well, I think you can say the same thing about the Goalies, man. Like they're butthole tight with money, and I think that to make this team make money again, I really think you just need to really just improve the fan engagement, and that's the first step, because winning does fix everything, man. But I mean,
if the winning's not there, you need something.
Yeah, you got to do something to keep fans engaged.
Well, and again, like we're talking, like I know I don't want to relate this to youth hockey, but youth hockey, like it's, and again, my perspective on youth hockey, it's not just about the Regals. It's not just about the Junior Sabres. Like they can't just be only the Junior Sabres.
Yeah.
Because again, being in business, like if you're thinking business, no one wants to be cut by the Junior Sabres and cheer for the Sabres.
Yeah. True.
Like you really, you know what I mean? Like again, like when the Sabres were engaged with fans and families back then, like they were going to the North Buffalo Thundercats.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like it had nothing to do with anything in terms of the logo. And that's where you get engagement.
I was putting away a bunch of Christmas stuff last night, and I got a bunch of stuff from my aunt and uncle, and they used to wrap stuff in older newspaper. And I'll see if I can find it, but there was a piece of newspaper in there. It was from 2001. It was the Go Ahead logo, and it was reaching out to get teachers involved with the organization that wanted players to essentially come to their classroom.
Yeah,
they don't do that stuff anymore.
They stole it from Cully's kids.
Oh, is that where they got it from? Okay.
Yeah.
No, it was 10 years before.
Yeah, absolutely.
All these kids got it from.
But that's a perfect example, man, is getting these players. Like, dude, look at Hasek's Foundation, Hasek's Heroes. It's been around for 20 years, and Hasek is I still don't think that guy gets the credit he deserves. I mean,
and the people that make it work, Duane. How many hours have you put in there?
Oh, I put a lot of. I mean, the year and a half I was there, I put a ton of hours in there. But it's just, it's I have stories about Dom when I was a kid at games at, we used to go to these booster club dinners as my dad's a season ticket holder in the club level. You used to have an opportunity to have dinner with the team. Essentially, you pay a certain amount of money to either sit near a table with a Sabre or sit at a table with a Sabre. I remember Hasek's fucking line was out the door before dinner. Yeah. They said, no autographs, wait till after dinner. I remember I was sitting there in my Hasek jersey, like middle of the line. I had a Hasek Pro Stock stick in one hand, a few cards in the other. Dom waves me over in front of everybody. Everybody signs every single thing that I have. Every single thing. How many kids these days have a story like that about any single player that's played for this organization in the last 5 years?
Probably not. I mean, like talking about like that, it's having the right people in the room. And again, you look at Gianta coming back here, right guy in the room.
Yep.
You look at Pominville coming back here, right guy in the room.
Yep.
But again, during the time these guys are back, here's the thing. The culture in the room wasn't right.
No.
And, anyone that knows that room will tell you that it just wasn't good. But at the end of the day, now all of it's mostly gone. I would say, they need to get back to that. Like if they want you look at the Bills and all the success in the Bills, I mean, it's a completely different town, I would say.
But I don't know. What did Dean and McDermott do well? Well, what did McDermott do well? he went out and they hit a home run, and they got a GM that drafted well and a head coach that were on the same page. They've hit on their first round picks, and then they've also made the necessary moves, right? There's been continuity there. There's been a plan in motion. Anytime, and you see it in college hockey when a coach, leaves and like the guys that are committed are kind of left. Anytime there you have multiple, how many GMs have we gone through in the past 5 years? Like 3. Like every GM has a different vision. So when you have to start all over again, you're now dealing with that guy's draft picks, right? That guy's locker room, and just to have some continuity is nice. And Karmanos, like you guys said, I think undercover, sneaky, he's going to be instrumental if this comes back. And it's been a hell of an episode. I only wish to piggyback off of what you guys have just been talking about. I wish for Quickie, for our kids' generation, that they have, and for all the other kids that are out there playing hockey that we coach and we see, I wish that they get sooner rather than later the memories that we got. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I can only hope to say that. But before we wrap up, I have a really funny story to tell. I took my daughters to go see to the Harbor Center. There was a big tournament with the junior Pens. Kyle, you know what I'm talking about,
yeah,
right?
The last week 4 clubs. Yep.
So I went to get a roster, and I thought it was Brian Giunta, but he had his mask on, and I've met him a few times, right? Like without FPL. So I fucking big lead him. I'm like, excuse me, sir, can you help me, get into this the scouts room? And he's like, yeah, no problem. And then I'm like, sorry, what's your name? I'm Johnny Cullen. He's like, oh, I'm Brian. And I'm like, it didn't fully hit me until I'm leaving with my kids, and he's standing next to Pat Coletta, and I stop and I say, hello,
Brian.
Pat. A couple clicks for Pat, and then I'm like, oh my God, I just fucking big league Brian Giunta.
Brian is the most humble person you'll ever meet.
I know, right?
He literally doesn't.
I love him
anyone
on that
recognize.
podcast.
He's like the nicest guy.
For me, the big league him, I'm such a fucking idiot.
He can't. His kid played for me, and Brian was like an assistant coach, and that was uncomfortable. One funny story, and I know, Duane, you have to go. We were playing Burlington in the small rink up there.
Oh, yeah.
And the refs, Brian's on the bench, and the refs are giving it to us. And Brian, argued a call. The ref told him to go read a rule book, and you know nothing about the game.
What?
And I'm sitting there Brian's I'm just sitting there oh, no.
Hey, this guy played 15 years
Yeah,
ago.
this guy literally, I'm just sitting there oh, boy, this isn't good. And Brian's just whatever. He just walked away. But again, I mean, he's a great guy. And, again, I know him and Pat are trying to turn around down there, and they're doing a good job. And again, it's just got to be about the kids, and that's the main focus, so.
Kyle, really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah.
I knew when we set this up, I'm like, do I split this up into 3 parts, because we could have you on, we could do hours and hours, but I do look forward to having you back on.
Yeah.
To go over some of the other stuff. Can't say enough about what you've done for so many hockey players. And that's why I know this is a Sabres podcast, folks, but I wanted to highlight the work that, one of Buffalo's own is doing to help the next wave. And it's just funny how it happens. We have PD on, he brings up, a Lou Lamoriello story. Kyle or Quickie texts me the next day or the day of, and we start chatting again, and you and Duane put it together. So couple clicks, Duane, for putting it together. I know
I appreciate it.
Day. That's on me for not being able to do it with my schedule. So Sabres, we I think I wanted to for our fans. We have a very tough month of February coming up. So our next 4 games. Our next 4 games in January: Dallas, Philadelphia, Ottawa, Arizona, and then we finish with Colorado. So those 4 games, you need points in those games, because then you look on to February, you have the Golden Knights, you have the Islanders, you have Colorado, you have St. Louis, right? It's going to be a tough stretch, and it's important for this young team to get points where they can. One last thing I'll leave it with. Right now, the Sabres, and I don't know if this is a record yet, they are, after 2 periods, leading most good teams are like 24-2, right? After leading it 2 periods.
Not Buffalo Sabres.
Like 7 and 15. Like that can't happen.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. You look at this roster though, Johnny, and I'd say we have 6 or 7 total players that are part of the plans going forward. I don't even think Victor Olofsson's part of the future plans.
No.
He hasn't scored in 21 games. He's a perimeter shooter. He's a power play specialist. But he's a perimeter shooter.
No.
And all I was going to say is I think he could be, but it's got to be with the right people. I'm not married to Victor Olofsson.
Again, I'll jump on that and say you already have Jeff Skinner, okay? In your top 6, you can have goal scorers, you can have all that, but like Olofsson is a single piece.
Yeah,
and on a certain team, he's a very good piece. On the Sabres, not a piece, because the hardest thing is what I'll tell you guys in Buffalo for the Sabres is getting players to come here is very hard. Yes. You have to overpay. Okay, so having a player on like Olofsson on a team like that, where you're already overpaying guys who are kind of on that fringe a little bit, where they're you know they could be top 6s, but you have to pay to get them here.
Yeah,
you can't have a Victor Olofsson. You can't. No. It doesn't work. No. I mean, he's great on the power play. Great.
You want to know where I think he should end up at the deadline, and I think this makes sense. And I think with him still being an RFA next year, and wherever he goes, you control his rights.
Yeah, that actually helps.
It's huge. Sure. It's huge. I think you can get a pretty good return if you retain half his salary, which you can afford to do. Edmonton. They desperately need somebody on that second line to score for them. And you send a guy like Victor Olofsson to Edmonton, you need somebody that's in the long-term plans for at least the next 3 years as a right-handed defenseman. You have CC and Barry there. That, I mean, are they having bad years? No, but like I think Edmonton would value freeing up about $4 to $5 million off their salary cap to go find a goalie.
If you're talking those two, you probably want CC in that too. You don't want Barry because
the only reason I value Barry is because he's at least been places where he's won, where Cody CC hasn't really won. But here's the thing, like
CC's got bad boots. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, but CC's tougher.
Here's the thing: whoever you're bringing in, you're not asking him to play with Dahlin in the top pairing. You're asking to be a second, third pairing guy as a right-handed
for a guy like Stuart Skinner to be a holdover, to be that bridge goalie.
But I think you could package a Bryson with an Olofsson, and you could probably, if Victor finally starts to score here before the deadline, you could probably get a first and maybe a defenseman, with half salary retained if you retain, because you could honestly probably afford to retain his entire salary if you wanted to.
Yeah,
you could. And if you did that, you could get a haul back for him if he starts to score before the deadline.
100%.
Absolutely.
We're coming up on 2 hours. Like I said, Duane, we could do this with Kyle for 4. He's definitely going to be.
This could have been a 45-minute podcast, Johnny, if Motormouth down there wasn't going a million miles a minute.
I had some really important memories.
Johnny's always been a talker. Let's not.
Hey, Kyle, tell everybody out there. Did it help you having? Was I with 2 things?
Loudest goalie I've ever played with.
Against?
Again, yeah. I mean, John would just yell the whole game, and you literally had no idea. If he wasn't playing, he'd be calling off icings. I mean, literally.
No.
I mean, Johnny on the bench, literally calling stuff.
I called 2 icings off in the O. No,
dude, I did it in men's league last week, and they were like,
"Oh, dude, it's exhilarating."
Great.
But I got warned after the second one. The OHL's refs, they sent a memo and they said, "Hey, you keep doing that, you're going to get a penalty." And Dougie Gilmore looked over at me and said, "No more of that." We're not saying no to Doug. I can't wait to have you back on, Kyle.
Yeah.
You're somebody that does so much for the game of hockey in Buffalo. We have so many good memories playing with you. I think we always worked together, or we always worked because we were competitors and we hated to lose.
Yep.
It's not that we loved winning; we just hated to lose. And we won. I remember we beat the Toronto Nationals out of the GTHL when we shouldn't have. You know what I mean? And part of that was due to your dad's coaching, but part of that was due to, you would play if those games were 42 minutes, you would play 36, right? Like, I just have so many good memories with you. Now that we're both in coaching, it's great to have you on. It's great to share some stories to see some of the guys that you've worked with directly get on to the next level and have success. And that's only going to keep going. Please, younger players that are listening, if you fit the age groups, reach out to Kyle. If there's still space left, you won't be disappointed. We'll fire out a tweet on our account with this. And Kyle, can we share your email with it?
Yes, definitely.
So I appreciate your time, Duane. I know that you had to push some things around to make this work. I appreciate you making it work. I've had a ton of fun. I think this is going to be great as a repeat guest. Hopefully, sometime maybe near the playoffs, and as your season's wrapping up, I think that'd be fun to have you back on then.
100%. And I really appreciate you having me on. And again, everything you guys do on this podcast, you speak, honest and truth. And that's the biggest thing on these types of things too. I think you guys do a good job with that. So, appreciate being on. And again, Duane, if you want to get on WGR anymore, just use Colin's number.
Hey,
I'm like, listen, I know for a fact, and I know for a fact, I'm not going to say or speculate things, but I know for a fact I get screened. I haven't called in a while, man, but I have okay. So I got last thing. I have a personal phone and a work phone. I remember I was calling from my personal phone. I've been through a couple of times since then. They haven't given me much of a hassle. And I was on the time I called before this, I was on hold for like over an hour, and I'm like, it doesn't make any fucking sense, dude. Like it's a fucking Wednesday. There's no reason I should be on hold for over an hour right now. I used to wait 5 minutes and get on.
A lot of people calling in.
Yeah, and so I remember calling in. It happened twice, and so I said, I'm gonna call my personal phone. And I got through, and they said they put me on hold, but then the phone disconnected, like almost right away. It's weird. So I call again, and he goes, "Oh man, sorry about that. Call disconnects again right away." So I called my work phone. I'm like, "Hey man, like I just got disconnected twice." Like, "Oh yeah, man, sorry, we're having a problem with the lines.
What's your name?
Sorry about that."
Yeah.
But the time before that, when I called again on my personal, it would just keep on ringing. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? But then I call for my work phone right away, and I go right through. It makes no sense. I'm like,
that's when you know you're doing a good job. So keep doing that.
You're
Quickie, I appreciate you coming on with us, man. We'll set something up again real soon. I'd like to have you more on for, kind of like a local hockey spotlight. If we've talked about that, I want to start spotlighting that more often.
100%.
Just for the reasons we talked about, man, trying to get in more engagement with youth hockey and because I think that needs to be spotlighted more, because it's not as, like you said, it's kind of diluted now, more so now than it was back when we were that age. And, I want to help garner some more excitement around it. So
100%.
I appreciate you coming on, man. I can't wait to have you on again. And everybody, this, just to remind you, we completely butchered our sponsor today. This is brought to you by Outlet Liquor, the place to buy a case. For any Bills or Sabres game, make sure you're with George Morbod. Get over to Outlet Liquor when you buy your adult beverages. Tell them 2 Goalies, 1 Mike from Trainwreck Sports sent you. They'll take good care of you over there. So Outlet Liquor, place to buy a case. This has been episode 82 of 2 Goalies, 1 Mike. John, you got one more thing to say?
Yeah, Kyle coaches right now the Regals 18U. They're 7th in the country. The 16th U team that he also coaches is 23rd in the country. Just wanted to, give him a couple clicks. And as Nationals approaches and both are state bound, a good luck to you and your run. You do such a good job with your kids. I look forward to catching a game soon. That's all I had, Duane. A couple clicks for your boys on the team, and tell them, big fans of they're friends of the program.
There we go. I like that. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, guys. And Duane, thank you for everything too.
If you want to get me the players' names that we did mention, both locally and non-locally, if you want to get me their handles on Twitter or whatnot, we'll tag them in the post 100%. And let them know that we pump their tires. We'll do that every time you have them on. So I'm sure kids, again, they want to hear themselves. Who doesn't want to hear that they're being talked about, so
100%. I appreciate it.
Again, episode 82, 2 Goalies, 1 mic, brought to you by Outlet Liquor, the place to buy a case. Thanks for stopping by, Quickie, and we will talk to you next week.